Hey everybody, welcome back. Okay, today I have a timer, which is very exciting, and I have for you Jessie Carr, who is the preacher of the pause. So I want you to know when we talked about like what will we talk about? Jessie said, I want to talk about the power of the pause. And I was immediately like, let's do that because I am still integrating more of that in my life, but it has powerfully changed my whole life. So Jessie, hi, let's talk about
Hi, happy
power of the pause.
birthday.
Thank you. And thanks for being a part of my birthday party that we're calling Lucky 13.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep going.
thank you. How did you get into the power of the pause?
The very short version is because we only have 13 minutes. I was not a pauser. I was a doer, right? I think everyone raise your hands. I was an athlete. I was a swimmer, right? If you know anything about swimming, like literally like how fast can you go? How efficient can you be? And like get your homework done, get your all their things done and sleep.
Yeah.
And like rest was not part of it. That was like, and then as you go into graduating from college, getting into work, it set me up to be a good worker.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I can do the things, right? But I did not embrace rest. I thought Shavasana at the end of the yoga where you lay there, dumbest thing ever. Why would you lay there when you can just go, get on, do the next thing? I just did my sweaty yoga. Why would I lay here? Fast forward, I decided to leave my corporate tech job at Google after 12 years, unbeknownst to me, basically giving myself the pause. And I was like, oh, like, wow, there's a lot to life. So it sort of evolved. And then I was like, no one pauses. And I think in our world being the coaching world and personal development and whatnot, like you see more of it. And so it's like, I often forget that not everyone speaks the language of pause, but also that like it's very foreign. And so my goal is to like help people find their own pause because for each of us it's different and today it might be different than tomorrow. So I think of it as like a platter. You got everything from like notice your breath for 1 second to like a 45-minute yoga nidra practice
Mhm.
and everything in between. And what you need in a moment of stress is different than what you need when you're really like nourishing yourself. And all of those things are pause, but we make it more complicated than it really needs to be. And also, simplicity is like, how do we get there in a simple, efficient, and like incredibly effective way?
Okay, so I love efficiency. It's like literally one of my love languages, which I think surprises some people because I know I present as somewhat messy, but I'm also like, that's also just efficiency.
Yeah.
It's, how do you think, how would you say, because I think I actually learned the power of pause or started to learn it in yoga. So it's interesting that you said that, like in Shavasana class. I remember when I would be the person who'd get up to go change clothes and like the teachers, plural, who spoke to, if you do not have like requirement to leave in this instant, like make sure you absorb this. Um, what would you say some of the benefits are? Because I think for the uninitiated, pausing is just a waste of time. What do you want to say to?
Oh, I hear you and like get it. And I think this is where we have to give ourselves so much love and compassion and start very, very small.
Mm,
Like that momentary, like the beauty of the pause is so many things. It is creating slowness, it's creating spaciousness so you don't yell at your kid
mhm.
or yell at your cat or whatever it is, right? It's like creating those little pockets of space. And so it's just, I tell people, like, start with your breath. If you have a meeting that irritates the crap out of you every day, or you have a client that you're working with, or your kid loves to press your buttons, how can you just pause for like one breath, notice your breath, and continue?
Mhm.
And then you build that muscle, you build the practice, right? The first time you laid there in Shavasana, it was deeply uncomfortable.
Deeply.
But 10 times later, you were maybe like, oh, it's that space between what you've done and allowing you to transition with choice into whatever's coming next, whether that's your reaction, the email that you send, the next thing on your to-do list. Start small.
I actually love the way you explained, like it allows you just the spaciousness and then like choices can follow. And I think the way you explained it was so powerful because I started to think like, oh, and maybe one of my first pause practices was jogging. And I come and go in my phases. I think at exactly my age, I'm not going to be like a big long-term jogger again in life, but jogging, or maybe it was sometimes running, was like my first, I think, actual pause, even though it wasn't Shavasana pause, but it was like 20 to 45 minutes a day that were just whatever music or whatever I was up to, and usually in Central Park, which was a good place for it. But also the choice, as you said, it's like I could start with my monkey mind, and at some point, a lot of stuff just like the dirt in water like settled, where at the end it was like, listen, this is the quote problem. I see three options where like at the beginning of the jog, it was like no choice, all very knee-jerk reaction, habitual type of just, the over our culture, of course, is obsessed with productivity. And I think the problem with that, like the way you explain the pause, and I think everyone listening is probably tracking, it's like the pause creates space for actual intelligent response or nourishing response or even just efficient response. And without the pause, it's like we're just a train on the track with habits.
Yeah, and you talk a lot about, and I love everything, with the work and using Byron Katie's work, and that in and of itself, the first noticing of like, oh, I'm having this thought, the ability to do that show like that's one step into a pause. You
Yep.
can choose to then create the space to do all of the questions and really get curious. But I always tell people like the pause is required for
Mm-hmm.
any and all transformation we desire,
Mm-hmm.
whether that is
Mm-hmm.
to change an eating habit, whether that is to make one teeny tiny like tack shift in life, or that's to change your life 180 degrees, which is what I did. But that wasn't the purpose. I just had to do that at the time to like throw everything up in the air and see where I landed. But like until you have the awareness,
Mm-hmm.
you can't make a different choice.
No.
You can't
And
choose
it's
a different thought. You can't choose a different
nope,
thing to eat from the fridge. You can't
nope.
like, so I'm like, everything in life begins with pause. And your decision to embrace it and hold that space
Mm-hmm.
increases with time
Mm-hmm.
and your capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where like the magic happens.
I completely agree with you. And I want you to know Eckhart Tolle is too. Because
Yeah,
when I saw him in
I'm with
Oslo,
him. I'm with him.
you're with him. We're together in this because he was talking at one point. He like went on this riff about space and spaciousness and space and everything is created in space. And he's like, we're sitting in a room, which is ultimately a box, but we're inside in the space. And my head exploded. I was like, oh, just what you said, like everything quantum physics wise bubbles up, surfaces. We become aware, something shifts, we pattern interrupt in the pause. I want to know about your pause. You said you changed everything. What happened? Why did you like, oh, I'm going to change my life and end up being the preacher of pause? How did we get here?
So we got here, I started working at Google a week after I graduated from college.
Wow.
Not unlike, you and other people, I think just sort of like get into it.
Type A.
Thought that I would be there for 2 years. That's what you do, right? 12 years later, I was still there.
Yeah.
And just realizing I was on this hamster wheel
Mhm.
and it was not fulfilling.
Mhm.
And I was like early approaching mid 30s. And I think this is when a lot of women and men too, but I think this is a female identifying thing of this sort of like, we're here. I did all the things. I didn't have all the things, but like I was doing the things.
Mhm.
And yet it was not satisfying. Not satisfying at all. And coupled with that, my father passed away. And so that, as you are experiencing now, creates this lift your head up out of the sand moment of like,
Mhm.
what am I doing? And there was this, if
Mm.
not now, then when? I'd been saying I was going to leave Google for years. a guy I worked with when I left, he was like, "You've been telling me you were going to leave since I started working here 7 years ago." Like empty threats. Because also going back to you can't change until you pause, I was so comfortable in the discomfort that my brain was like, well, but that's safe. And so, now knowing much more of like the neuroscience behind how our brains hate change, being able to pick my head up and just say, like, I got to step away. And I didn't think that I would like fully leave. I didn't think at the time I was like coaching, ugh, I don't want to talk about anything. I just want to go like ignore life.
Yep.
But what I realized is like life is beautiful and life is rich when you actually have the spaciousness to enjoy it. And too many people today, especially women, with the load, if you are a mother, if you are a partner, if you are a pet parent, like whatever you got, everything. And today in our environment, it is heavy. It feels like everything is crashing down.
Wow.
And all the juggling balls and plates in the air. And I feel like I navigate through that because I have embraced and have so much more awareness than I did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, certainly 15 years ago. So being able to offer that space for myself, it's like experience leads the way. And the more that I can share that, the more that I hope that other people can see how it's possible. We each have a unique starting point of pause. I can give you 10 different options, but like Serena's going to fall in love with 1, 2, 3. Someone else is going to be like, oh God, no, that jogging thing is terrible. I need the total stillness, right? You don't have to be laying dead on the floor. You can be in movement. You can be in nature. Like it's really also about embracing and using that space to like actually notice what's happening in life.
Jessie.
Serena.
So type A that you're like, and I'm done 30 seconds early.
I was watching. Don't you worry.
It's our first episode with the timer. I have thoughts and feelings about it, but I'm like, I mean, you did totally nail it. So if I can say in the next 15 seconds, you also just made the strongest argument, or you articulated the power of private coaching. The pause. If it's 1 hour a week or 1 30-minute session, like it is the pause in the client's life to just begin to practice. Oh, tell everyone.
That is amazing.
I was like, is that a Hunger Games timer? I'm not pleased with that. We're gonna have to look into it. We're gonna share your website and all those things, but tell everyone, like, where's the number one place to find you? Should they follow you on Facebook, Instagram?
The number one place is Instagram. My Instagram handle is the Linger Movement. So lingering, slowing down, pausing. I consider it a lifestyle brand, lifestyle coaching, right? It's how do we live more fulfilled? So at the Linger Movement on Instagram.
Now more than ever. It's so important. Thank you so much, Jessie, for being a part of Lucky 13 and sharing the power of the pause with everybody.
Amazing. Thank you.